Ladies, let me put it to you plain and simple. Men are not complicated when it comes to physical intimacy. We're built to desire it. We chase it. We think about it. It's wired into us. But what separates the man who just wants your body from the man who wants your soul is what happens when the lights go out, when the passion slows down, and when there's nothing left but silence. That's when emotional intimacy speaks louder than anything else. That's when you find out if this man just came for the moment or if he came to stay for life. Now, I'm going to be real with you. A lot of men can climb in your bed. A lot of men can whisper sweet nothings. A lot of men can act like they're crazy about you for one night. But not every man will reach for you after it's all done. Not every man will look at you in the quiet moments and still want to be there, still want to talk, still want to hold you. That's where emotional intimacy starts showing itself. And that's how you know you mean something deeper to him. When a man chooses to connect with you emotionally in bed, he's doing something most men don't do easily. He's letting his guard down. You have to understand, ladies, men are taught from a young age to be tough, to be strong, to not show weakness. Society tells us that tears make us weak, that talking about our feelings makes us soft, that expressing love too deeply makes us vulnerable. So, a lot of men walk around armored up, smiling on the outside, but shut down on the inside. We can laugh with you, we can go on dates with you, we can buy you things, but the moment we lie down in that bed and decide to let those walls down, that's different. That's not just physical, that's emotional, and that's rare. See, when a man reaches for you after intimacy, pulls you close, lays his head on your chest, or just wants to be near you, that's not about lust, that's about comfort. That's about home. That's about a man saying, you're where I feel safe. Because let me tell you, men don't show that side of themselves to everybody. We don't share that vulnerability with just anyone. We can have physical moments with different women, but emotional intimacy, that's exclusive. That's reserved for the one woman who touches us differently, who calms our soul, who makes us feel like we don't have to perform, don't have to act tough, don't have to wear the mask. Ladies, you've got to start paying attention to the signs. Emotional intimacy doesn't always look like a long speech or a dramatic gesture. Sometimes it's in the small things. If he's the kind of man who wants to lay there and actually talk to you about his day, his dreams, his fears, even the things he doesn't tell his boys, that's intimacy. If he holds you when you sleep, even when it's hot outside, that's intimacy. If he's more interested in how you feel, in making sure you're okay, in checking that you're comfortable, instead of just satisfying himself, that's intimacy. Those are the little ways a man tells you without words, you mean more to me than the act itself. Let me make this clear. Men don't always have the language to say what we feel. We don't sit around with our boys talking about love the way women do. We don't call up our friends saying, man, I really think I'm falling for her because she makes me feel emotionally safe in bed. That's not our language. But our actions, oh, they'll tell you everything you need to know. And one of the clearest ways you'll see it is in how he treats you when it's just the two of you, when there are no distractions, when there's no performance, when it's just real. Now, some of you ladies may have experienced the opposite. You've been with a man who got up right after, who turned his back, who acted like it was just another task checked off his list. And that hurts, doesn't it? Because deep down you want more than just physical. You want the closeness, the connection, the affirmation that you're more than just an option. That's because women are built differently. Y'all are emotional creatures by nature. You feel deeply, you crave security, you long for connection. So when a man meets you at that level, when he decides to give you not just his body but his heart, it fills a part of you that nothing else can. And when that exchange happens, when the two of you are emotionally present with each other, that's the kind of bond that keeps a man coming back. That makes him realize, I can't live without her. Because here's the truth, of sex without intimacy is forgettable. But sex with intimacy, that's unforgettable. It sticks with a man. It changes him. It makes him start thinking differently about you, about what you mean to him, about how he sees his future. He starts associating you not just with pleasure, but with peace. And I'll tell you right now, peace is something every man is chasing, whether he admits it or not. We can get excitement anywhere. We can get thrills in 100 different places. But peace, that's rare. And when a man finds peace in you, especially in the most vulnerable setting of all, the bedroom. He knows he can't afford to let that go. Think about it, ladies. When you've got that emotional intimacy, arguments hit differently. Disagreements don't break you apart as easily because there's a foundation that's deeper than words. He knows you're not just another person passing through his life. You've become part of his safe space. And men protect their safe spaces at all costs. You want to know why some men keep running back to the same woman, even after mistakes, even after breakups? It's because that emotional intimacy was there, and he can't recreate it with just anyone. He may try, but it won't feel the same. He'll realize that physical intimacy alone won't cut it anymore, because once a man has tasted that deeper connection, once he's felt that comfort and safety, he can't go back to surface level. That's when he realizes, I can't live without her. She's not just in my bed, she's in my soul. And let me give you this truth right here. The man who connects with you emotionally in bed is not going to treat you casually outside of it. If he sees you as his safe space, he's going to guard you. He's going to respect you. He's going to prioritize you, because for him, losing you isn't just losing a relationship. It's losing a piece of himself. So, ladies, pay close attention. Stop measuring his love by how much money he spends or how fancy his dates are or how often he texts you. Look at how he treats you when the world is quiet. Look at what he does when it's just you and him. If he's emotionally present in those moments, if he chooses closeness, chooses conversation, chooses tenderness, then you've got more than a man in your life. You've got a partner, you've got a protector, you've got someone who can't imagine living without you. If a man ever shows you his vulnerable side, if he ever opens up to you when the world tells him to stay closed, then you need to understand what that really means. Because men, we don't hand out our vulnerability like candy. We don't put it on display for just anybody. When a man lets down his guard, when he reveals the side of himself that he usually hides from everybody else, that's a man telling you without words, I trust you, I need you, I can't do life without you. That's not weakness, that's love. See, most men were raised in an environment where we were told to be tough. From the time we were little boys, people told us, man up, don't cry, be strong. We were taught that showing emotions meant we were soft, and we believed it. So we learned how to keep our fears, our doubts, and our insecurities locked up inside. We smile in public. We put on the brave face. We act like we've got it all together. But behind that mask, there's a man who has struggles, who has scars, who has dreams that sometimes scare him. And the truth is, most men will go their whole lives without ever letting a woman see that side. But when a man decides that you're different, when he trusts you enough to let you into that private space, that's when you know you've touched his heart in a way that no one else has. That's when you know you're not just somebody he's passing time with. That's when you know he sees you as his partner, his safe place, his home. You've got to understand how rare this is. A man can be physically intimate with a woman and still never show her his soul. He can date someone for months and still never reveal what keeps him up at night. He can marry a woman and still keep his real fears locked away inside. But if you're the woman who sees his cracks, who hears his secrets, who gets to witness the moments when he says, baby, I don't have it all figured out, then you've been given something sacred. That's not just love. That's trust at its highest level. Now, here's the thing. When a man is vulnerable with you, it doesn't always look like tears or long emotional speeches. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like him confessing a failure he's ashamed of. Sometimes it looks like him asking for your opinion, even though he's supposed to be the one who has all the answers. Vulnerability for a man can be as simple as saying, I'm scared, or I don't know what to do. And for a lot of us, those three little words are harder to say than I love you, because I love you feels strong, but I'm scared feels weak. And men don't like to feel weak. But here's the beauty of it when he tells you that, when he chooses you as the person he can be weak around, that's his way of showing you love in its purest form. Because love isn't just about showing your strengths. It's about exposing your weaknesses and trusting that the other person won't use them against you. That's the risk men take when they let themselves be vulnerable. They're handing you the keys to the parts of their heart that could be hurt the most. And if he hands you those keys, you better believe he's not planning on letting you go. I need you to realize something else too. A man doesn't get vulnerable with just any woman because he knows not every woman can handle it. Some women say they want honesty and openness, but the moment a man shows his fears, they see him differently. They start losing respect for him, or they use his weakness as a weapon later in an argument. That's why a lot of men shut down. That's why we keep things bottled up. But when a man feels safe enough with you to share those truths, it's because you've proven to him that you're not just another woman, you're his woman. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a man who works all day carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's got bills, responsibilities, expectations, maybe a family to take care of. Everybody depends on him to be strong. But at the end of the day, when he comes home and he lays next to you and he sighs and says, I don't know if I can handle this, or I feel like I'm failing, that's not a man giving up. That's a man choosing you as his safe place. That's him saying, with you, I don't have to pretend. With you, I can lay this burden down. And if you're that woman for him, then believe me, he can't live without you. Because every man needs that one person he can fall apart with and still feel loved. Here's the secret nobody tells you. Men may not say it out loud, but vulnerability is freedom for us. Carrying around that armor all day is heavy. Pretending we're always strong is exhausting. So when we finally meet a woman who lets us take off that armor, who holds our truth without judgment, who looks at our flaws and still calls us worthy, that's the kind of love that heals us. That's the kind of love that makes us stay. That's the kind of love that keeps us loyal. And don't get it twisted. When a man shows you vulnerability, it doesn't make him less of a man. It makes him more of one, because it takes real strength to let someone see the parts of you that could break. It takes courage to stand in your truth without hiding. It takes love to share your fears, knowing the person across from you has the power to hurt you. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's bravery. And if a man gives you that, he's giving you the most valuable thing he's got. So ladies, if you've got a man who opens up to you, don't take it lightly. Don't dismiss his feelings. Don't roll your eyes when he shares something deep. Listen, hold that space, protect it. Because men remember the women who made them feel safe. Men never forget the ones who loved them at their lowest. And once a man has felt that kind of acceptance, he's not going to trade it for anything. He'll fight for it. He'll cling to it. He'll make sure he never loses it. That's why I tell you, if a man lets you see his vulnerable side, if he cries in front of you, if he admits he's scared, if he shares the things that haunt him, then baby, you've got him. You've got his heart. And once you've got that, he can't live without you, because vulnerability is not something we give lightly. It's something we reserve for the one person who makes us feel whole. I need you to hear me on this. Affection is easy in the beginning. Any man can shower you with attention when it's new, when he's trying to win you over, when he's chasing you because he's got something to prove. But the real test of a man's love, the real proof of how deeply you matter to him, is whether or not that affection stays consistent over time. Because consistency, that's not something you fake. That's something that comes from the heart. See, some men are sprinters. They start off fast. They impress you with their words. They flood you with compliments. They call every night. They hold your hand in public. They act like they're crazy about you. And then after a while, it dies down. They start pulling back. Suddenly, the texts aren't as long. The calls aren't as frequent. The kisses don't linger. The hugs don't feel as warm. That's not consistency. That's performance. And let me tell you, if it was just performance, it was never real. But when a man really can't live without you, when you've touched him in a place deeper than just physical attraction, his affection won't come and go. It'll show up every day, even in the small ways. He'll still want to hold your hand 5 years in. He'll still call you beautiful when you're sitting around the house in sweatpants. He'll still text you good morning, not because it's routine, but because you're the first thought on his mind. That's what consistency looks like. It's steady, it's reliable, it doesn't fade, because it's not about impressing you. It's about loving you. Consistency is the difference between a man who wants you temporarily and a man who sees you as permanent. Think about it. Anybody can act sweet for a week. Anybody can be romantic for a season. But the man who shows up for you day after day, in the highs and the lows, when you're glowing and when you're struggling, that's a man who's telling you, I'm here for the long haul. That's a man who knows he can't imagine life without you. because his affection isn't dependent on circumstances. It's not about what you look like that day or whether the mood is perfect. It's about you, period. Let me break it down even more. When a man is consistent in his affection, you never have to question where you stand with him. You don't go to bed wondering if he's pulling away. You don't have to ask yourself if he still cares. You don't sit around waiting for the crumbs of attention because his actions keep answering the question for you. Yes, he loves you. Yes, he values you. Yes, he wants you. And that security, that peace of mind is something no woman should ever have to beg for. It should be freely given by the man who truly sees your worth. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, well, Steve, men change after they get comfortable. And that's true. Men do get comfortable. But here's the difference. A man who loves you doesn't get lazy with his affection. Comfort for him doesn't mean neglecting you. Comfort means he's even more at ease showing you love because he knows you're his safe place. See, some men use comfort as an excuse to stop trying, but the right man uses comfort as a reason to keep pouring into you because he knows the affection he gives is what keeps the bond alive. And let me tell you something else. Consistency isn't always about the big romantic gestures. Sure, flowers, dinners, trips, those are nice, but consistency is in the everyday moments. It's in the way he checks on you when you're quiet. It's in the way he makes sure you eat when you're too busy. It's in the way he listens when you talk about your dreams, even if he's tired. It's in the way he doesn't just say, I love you, but proves it with his actions every single day. That's what sticks. That's what makes you feel secure. Ladies, men who are inconsistent will leave you confused, doubting yourself, questioning the relationship. And confusion is not love. Real love brings clarity. It brings peace. And peace comes from consistency. If a man is steady in how he loves you, you'll feel it in your spirit. You won't be stressing about whether or not he's all in. You'll know he's all in because he shows it. And here's the kicker. Men know how to be consistent when they want to be. Don't let any man fool you with excuses. A man who wants you, who values you, who knows he can't live without you will make the effort. He'll show up, not just once, not just twice, but over and over again. Why? Because affection for him isn't a chore, it's a joy. When a man's heart is invested, consistency flows naturally. He doesn't have to think about it. He doesn't have to force it. It becomes part of who he is with you. The truth is, inconsistency is often a sign of a lack of commitment. A man who disappears for days, who loves you 1 minute and ignores you the next, who's hot and cold with his affection. That's not a man who's serious about you. That's a man keeping you as an option. But when a man has decided in his heart that you're his woman, that you're his future, that you're his peace, his consistency will prove it. Because love without consistency isn't love, it's entertainment. Think about the men who always circle back to the same woman, even after they tried to move on. 9 times out of 10, it's not because of the looks or the excitement. It's because of how she made him feel consistently. She didn't just give him affection in bursts. She was steady, and her steadiness became the foundation of his attachment. Men crave that. We may not say it out loud, but deep down, we long for someone who won't make us question if we're loved, who won't make us wonder if the affection is real. When we find that, we hold on to it because it's rare. And ladies, don't miss this point. Consistency builds trust. Every time he shows up for you, every time he proves that his love isn't going anywhere, he's building a foundation that nothing can shake. That trust is what allows you to open up more, to give more, to love deeper. And when both of you feel that security, that's when the relationship grows in ways you never imagined. That's when you stop surviving love and start thriving in it. So when a man shows you affection, don't just look at the first few weeks. Watch how he treats you over time. Does he still pursue you when he has you? Does he still prioritize you when life gets busy? Does he still make you feel cherished when the honeymoon phase is long gone? Because if he does, then you've got a man who's not just in love with the idea of you, he's in love with you. And that kind of man, the one who proves it consistently, that's the man who can't live without you. There comes a point in a man's life when he realizes something powerful. Not every woman can be replaced. See, men may go through relationships. They may date around. They may think they've got options. But when a man finds that one woman who touches his soul, who gives him peace, who makes him feel alive in a way no one else can, that woman becomes irreplaceable. And when he knows you're irreplaceable, he also knows he can't live without you. Now, don't confuse being irreplaceable with being convenient. Convenience is temporary. Convenience is about what you do for him in the moment. But being irreplaceable, that's deeper. That's not about what you bring to the table. It's about who you are at the table. It's about the way you make him feel, the way you bring calm to his chaos, the way you inspire him to be better without even trying. Any man can replace convenience, but he cannot replace substance. And when you're that kind of woman, baby, you've got him for life. Think about it. A man can meet a lot of women who look good, who talk sweet, who flirt, who give him attention. That's easy to find. But what's not easy to find is a woman who sees through his armor and still loves him. A woman who believes in him when he doesn't believe in himself. A woman who makes him laugh when he's at his lowest. A woman who, just by being present, makes the weight he carries feel lighter. That's rare. That's priceless. That's irreplaceable. And here's the truth. Men don't realize it right away. Sometimes we take it for granted. Sometimes we're slow to see what's right in front of us. But the moment we wake up and realize that what we've got is something we can't find anywhere else, that's the moment everything changes. That's when we stop playing. That's when we stop running. That's when we decide we're not risking losing this woman for anything. Because losing an irreplaceable woman is like losing oxygen. You don't realize how much you need it until it's gone, but by then, it's too late. Ladies, let me tell you how men know you're irreplaceable. First, it's in the peace you bring. The world beats us up every single day. We've got responsibilities, pressure, expectations, and battles nobody even sees. But if being with you feels like rest, if being with you feels like he can finally breathe, then you've given him something he can't get anywhere else. And once a man experiences peace with a woman, he doesn't forget it. He can chase excitement somewhere else, but excitement fades. Peace lasts, and peace is priceless. Second, he knows you're irreplaceable if you make him better. See, men want to feel like they're growing, like they're moving forward, like they're becoming the best version of themselves. But a lot of men get stuck, trapped in their own mistakes, their own doubts, their own patterns. If you're the woman who encourages him, who challenges him without tearing him down, who makes him want to rise higher just because you believe in him, then you're not just his partner. You're his inspiration. And you better believe he won't let go of the one person who made him feel like greatness was possible. Third, he knows you're irreplaceable if you accept him completely. And I'm not talking about ignoring his flaws or tolerating bad behavior. I'm talking about the kind of acceptance where you see him, the real him, the man behind the mask, and you love him anyway. Men spend so much time trying to prove themselves, trying to measure up, trying to hide the parts they're ashamed of. But when a woman looks at us, flaws and all, and says, I still choose you, that's when we realize we've got something we'll never find again. Now, here's the part you need to understand. A man may meet plenty of women who can cook, who can dress, who can hold a conversation. But what he can't replace is the way you made him feel seen, the way you made him feel safe, the way you made him feel like he mattered. That's not something another woman can copy. That's unique to you. And when he knows that, when he feels that deep in his bones, he won't risk losing it. Some of y'all have seen this play out before. That man who thought the grass was greener on the other side, he left thinking he could replace what he had. And then he found out the hard way that the grass wasn't greener, it was fake. It looked good from a distance, but it didn't have roots. And when the storms came, it couldn't hold him down. That's when he realized, man, I had something real, and I messed it up. That's why so many men come back, why they circle around, why they can't seem to fully move on. Because once a man has felt the love of an irreplaceable woman, he knows deep down he won't get it anywhere else. Here's another truth. Being irreplaceable has nothing to do with being perfect. You don't have to be flawless. You don't have to have it all together. What makes you irreplaceable is the authenticity of your love. It's the way you show up. It's the way you're real with him. It's the way you care, the way you support, the way you bring warmth into his world. That's what makes a man look at you and say, I can't imagine my life without her. And let me tell you this, men don't fight for what's replaceable. If something's easy to find again, we don't value it. But when we know we've got something we'll never find again, that's when we fight. That's when we commit. That's when we protect it with everything we've got. If he's protecting you, prioritizing you, making sure you know your value, it's because he knows you're irreplaceable. And once he knows that, losing you isn't an option. So, ladies, the next time you wonder where you stand with a man, pay attention to how he treats you. Does he guard you? Does he make you feel secure? Does he act like he's afraid of losing you? If he does, that's because deep down he knows you're one of one. He knows you're not someone he can replace with the next woman who comes along. He knows you're the peace, the strength, the love that makes his world make sense. And when a man finds that, he'll move heaven and earth to keep it. Because at the end of the day, a man may survive without convenience, without luxury, without attention from the world. But he cannot survive without the woman who gives him peace, purpose, and unconditional love. That woman becomes the heartbeat of his life. And when you're that woman, you're not just loved, you're needed. You're not just wanted, you're irreplaceable. And once a man knows you're irreplaceable, baby, you've got him forever.